Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, I'm Stephanie. Today we're doing a very exciting video and I'm going to be talking all about the Devil's Night series by Penelope Douglas. It literally became my favorite series of all time. I'm going to do a video during the summer of like my top 5 series that I love, just because I'm excited to share them all with you. But today we're going to be talking about the Devil's Night series. And I'm so excited. So if you guys are interested in reading this type of series, if you guys are just interested in hearing what my thoughts were in general, anything about the series, just continue to watch. Remember to like this video, comment down below your favorite characters, who your favorite couple is, literally the rankings of the books. I'm just dying to know. Also follow me on TikTok because that's where I do a lot of Devil's Night videos, and I'm literally always talking to every single person that comments on my videos. You could also comment here, obviously I'll talk to you here. But yeah, I'm so excited to talk about the series, and let's just get started. Please read this only if you're 18 and over. I don't recommend high school students to read this at all. Let's talk about this series because it's so damn good. I'm gonna give you tropes. I'm gonna talk a little bit about my feelings towards it. I don't necessarily want to spoil it too much, but I'm gonna do my best to really talk about it without actually giving away too much. This whole series, let's start with where it takes place. It takes place in Thunder Bay, which is kind of like a small town where a bunch of rich people live. We have the 4 horsemen of this series. So we have Michael Christ, we have Kai Mori, we have Damon Torrance, and Will Grayson III. Each horseman has a book. So the first one is Corrupt. Corrupt is the story of Michael Christ and Rika Fane, which is Erica Fane, but we call her Rika Fane in the series. And I'll go through them in a second. The second book is Hideaway, which is the book of Kai Mori and Banks. And then we have Killswitch, which Killswitch is the book of Damon Torrance and Winter Ashby. And then we have Conclave, which is the novella, and this is, I think it's like 80 pages, and this is a story. It's not necessarily like the story, but the main characters that were in the point of view is Rika Fane, we have Damon Torrance, and then we have Nightfall, which is Will Grayson III, his book. And then we have Firenight, which is also another novella. So technically there's 4 official books and 2 novellas. Kind of optional for you to read the novellas, but trust me, this series, one thing that I will forever say is, like, I'm gonna say tropes in here and whatnot, but it's one of those series where you just need to continue reading it because it's so good and it's all gonna make sense once you're done with them. So let's start with Corrupt. There's 4 horsemen. The first one is Michael Christ. He is the leader of the group. We have Kai Mori, which is kind of like his best friend. And then we have Damon Torrance. And then we have Will Grayson. Damon Torrance and Will Grayson, they're more closer. So it's like Michael and Kai are best friends, and then Will and Damon are best friends. Each of the 4 horsemen, they're really rich. Talking Michael Christ, I believe like his family owns a bunch of like hotels, like real estate type of stuff. Kai Mori is something similar like that. And then Damon Torrance, he's the son of like this media mogul. And then we have Will Grayson III, who is literally the grandson of a senator. So as you can see, they're very rich, they're very powerful. They're kind of the leaders of the school. They do whatever they want. Each year during Devil's Night, which is the day before Halloween, they pretty much go around town doing a bunch of crazy stuff. Like they set fires, they do a lot of stuff. Something I will say about Corrupt, like the very first 50%, you're just gonna be really confused because you're trying to figure out every single thing because we're going from the past to the present. This book is the story of Erica Fane and Michael. Erica Fane is actually dating Michael's little brother. So it's my boyfriend's brother trope, if you will. This is a dark romance. I wouldn't necessarily say like a bully romance completely, but it has a couple aspects of that in here. All you need to know is that 3 years ago, 3 of the 4 horsemen get sent to jail. We have Kai Mori, Damon Torrance, and Will Grayson. All of them get sent to jail except Michael. And it's 3 years later, so as I mentioned, past, present. 3 years later, they're out and they're out for revenge. And they pick Erica Fane. That's all I can really say about it. It's really good, but as I'm telling you, like, please just read it, finish the book, because you're gonna be confused, but once you get into the point where everything starts making sense, everything is gonna click to you and you're gonna be like, wow. Another thing I will say about this book is Damon Torrance. You're gonna dislike him a lot in this book, but don't hate him. That's all I'm gonna say. Dislike him. He does a lot of fucked up shit, and it's not okay what he does at all. But you're gonna get to his book and suddenly everything is gonna make sense. It doesn't excuse it, but it's all gonna make sense. This book is my second favorite of the series. It was really good. I loved it. It's absolutely everything. I love Michael so much. I just love Michael. Michael, I will say, he is in the NBA of this world. And Erica, she's currently in college when they go back to the present. And obviously the past takes place when they're in high school. Now, Hideaway. I can't really talk too much about Hideaway because there's kind of like a couple spoiler things in here. But it's the story of Kai and Banks. Once again, similarly, you go from the past to the present a lot. By the way, all these books take, like, the past takes place in a specific Devil's Night day. So it's different timelines. Once you finish with the series, definitely go on Penelope's website timeline of everything. So it's like, it wasn't confusing at all to me, like, to put in the timeline. But if you really want to see the timeline, you can see it after you read the series. So pretty much there's one Devil's Night where Kai bumps into Banks and he automatically wants to know more about her, just because Banks is very secretive. Like, you don't really know much about her until later on you get the big reveal of who she is. But he is always trying to catch, he like wants to start something with her, but it's always unattainable for one specific reason. All I'm gonna say, the trope in here, I really hate it in here because it's not even about that. Like, the trope completely disappears at one point, but it's arranged marriage and it's not between the main couple in here. Just know that. Please don't go by it. Don't go into the series being like, oh, it's arranged marriage, because it's more than that. I did not love this book. Like, I love Banks and I love seeing her relationship with one other person in here. For the people who have read it already, you already know who I'm talking about. I love seeing her childhood, and it made my heart hurt because I was like, oh my god, they deserved way better. But I just expected more from Hideaway. I really wanted more, especially after Corrupt. I feel like Corrupt was so, like, it kept me on my toes. I was like, oh my god, what's happening? Like, what's gonna happen next? Like, I wanted to know more. And with this one, like, I kept reading it and it was okay overall. Like, it was okay overall. I will say Kai is not my favorite as well. I feel like he's very bland. I feel like I expect more from him, but he's just kind of there. I don't hate him, I don't dislike him or anything, he's just there for me. But I love Banks, I will say that. The next book is Killswitch. This book is so tabbed. This is also the first series I've tabbed ever in my whole life. I'm gonna go back into my favorite series now and tab them all. I already did it to the Calloway sisters because I was in spring break when I'm filming this, so I did it. But it's so tabbed. This book is Damon Torrance's book and Winter Ashby. I love Damon and Winter. They're my favorite couple. My second favorite couple is Michael and Rika, and they're also my second favorite book, but this one is the first one. I love it so much. It's my favorite. Like, I love Damon Torrance so much, and Winter. Can't really give it away, but it's pretty much Damon marries Winter's sister to get close to her. That's all I'm gonna say. So he marries someone else just to get close to Winter. It was such a good book. I absolutely loved it. It hurt my heart so much to learn about Damon's past. But I'm telling you, if you read Corrupt, do not hate Damon. Just know that there's a reason for every single thing he does. It doesn't excuse it, but once you get to this book, you're just gonna see him in a different light, and I absolutely loved it. This book that follows is Conclave. This is a novella. Please read it. Do not skip it. It's very important because it sets up Nightfall, the follow-up book. But this one is like it's like an 80-page book, and it was really good. There's a bonus scene in here which it's so good. But pretty much this is in the point of view of Damon and Rika Fane, and there's something that happens in here. I cannot say it's gonna be spoiler. It's gonna click and then you're gonna be like, oh god, like what? Like it's like there's a big reveal in here. Get to their point of view where pretty much it's called Conclave for a reason. They set up a meeting, and this is their meeting. This whole book is about that meeting and what they're gonna do in certain aspects. It's one of those series where it's like, I wish I could just go in detail and tell you, but I can't without spoiling. It's one of the series where it's like, it doesn't matter the plot, it doesn't matter when necessarily it is. Just read it all completely and everything's gonna make sense. So tabbed because it has my favorite couples in here. And then we have Nightfall. Nightfall is Will's book. And Will, I love him so much. He is such a simp. Literally, it's the best thing ever. Once again, it takes place past and present, obviously when he's in high school and with the girl Emery. I don't want to give it away too much, but Will disappears, and you kind of discover this in Conclave, and that's why they have a meeting, because the crew wants to know how they're gonna look for Will. That's all I'm gonna say. And he gets sent to Black Church, which Black Church is it's not even a school, it's like this prison for the sons of very wealthy men who can't have their sons going to a regular prison, because obviously it would be all over the social media and whatnot. So they send them to Black Church, where pretty much they have to fend for themselves, and Will gets sent here. And overall, it just, I give 4 stars. It wasn't my favorite. There was a lot of things to it. I felt like this book was very long. It's a thick book. I don't even know how many pages in here. It's 727 pages, guys. It was way too long. Also, in this book series, we have, from the very first book, it's not really a spoiler, we have Alex Palmer. She becomes friends with all of them pretty much, specifically Erica. And I love Alex. She is my baby. I love her. She's such a queen. And I feel like the reason in this book, there's a lot of things that happen, and it was very long, but I feel like at the same time Penelope added Alex's story in here, and it just felt rushed. Not that I needed I kind of wish I would have had a book specifically for Alex, but it doesn't make sense to make a book about Alex just because this is about the 4 horsemen, so there's 4 books about them, so it makes sense why there's no book for her. But it kind of felt rushed adding her book in here, adding her story in here. So I wasn't like in love with that. I also didn't know how to feel about Alex's love interest in here. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not really like a spoiler, I'm just trying to explain myself. It also, I did not like the heroine in here. I did not like her. There's many reasons. Check trigger warnings for this a little bit. Check trigger warnings because this deals with domestic abuse. Yeah, I just did not like the heroine. Like, there's a lot of things she does specifically to this friend group that gets revealed later on, and she never apologized for it, and she never, like, she never paid any consequences, and she ends up being in this book as kind of like a coincidence. Like, if you guys know what I'm talking about, you guys know. But like, once the big reveal happens in here, it's like she, like, and you really start thinking about it, like, she had no plans of coming back and ever apologizing to any of the 4 horsemen, or even the girls, because the girls get dragged into this. So there's a lot of reasons why I don't like her. At first, when I read the book, I didn't dislike her. She was just there, kind of like high. But as I continue reading it, and even after I've been done with this series, I think about all the things, and I'm just like, this girl, like, she just, I don't like her. That's just it. Like, I don't hate her, I just don't like her at all. So yeah, I love Will though. I will say that I love Will. But yeah, it was overall just okay. The next book is Firenight. This is another novella. This is like 100 pages. It was really good. I gave it 4.5. I'm gonna bump it up to 4.7 just because I guess I get it's a novella, but I kind of I just wanted a little bit more, because this is in the point of view of the 4 horsemen. So obviously we have Michael's point of view, we have Damon's point of view, we have Kai's point of view, and we have Will's point of view. And this takes place, I think, 10 years later. I don't know exactly how many years later, but it takes place after a while. And I really did love it. I just wanted more, and I think that's why I rated it a little bit lower. You get to see their kids in here, and the ending of this book left me wanting more. Like, there's a specific book I want in here of Octavia. I'm not gonna say who that is, but Octavia. I want Madden's book. I want specifically Ethel's book. Like, there's so many books in here that I want from the 2nd generation. Obviously, they're kids. And Penelope already said that they are not releasing any new books. They're not doing another series following up the kids. It makes me so upset because I love this series so much, and I got so attached to it, like, and knowing that it's not real hurts my heart so much because I absolutely love them. But yeah, this is the series. If you want to talk about it with me, I'm always down to talk about it with. Please read it. I'm telling you, like, the tropes don't make it justice because you just really need to read it to understand everything that's going on. But once again, if I had to rate it, I'm gonna rate it for you guys. I would go from Killswitch, Damon and Winter, and then I would do Corrupt, which is Michael and Rika's book, and then I would do Conclave just because it has my favorite couples in here, and then I would do firenight because it has the kids in here and I absolutely loved reading about them, and then I would do Hideaway because I did enjoy it, I just wanted more from it, and then lastly I would do Nightfall. There was just a lot of things in here. And then one more thing I'm gonna say about the series, there's a lot of people on TikTok specifically that hate Michael, that hate Alex, and they hate Erica Fane. And I don't understand why. I get that they do certain things that, and Damon, they hate Damon too. Here's the thing I will say about this, and I will stand by this. Everyone's okay to have their own opinions, but oh my god, the amount of hate that people get on their comment section on TikTok about these couples, it's so annoying, and I will forever stand by that. Like, if you don't like someone, that's fine, but there's no reason for you to comment so much hate on different videos or make hate videos on specific characters, because at the end of the day, it's just fiction. Like, people hate on Michael for Corrupt because obviously he's the first one doing all these bad things to Erica Fane, especially when the big reveal comes that you're just like, oh my god, like, they did all this and for what? But I love Michael so much, and if you read the rest of the series, you see how much he loves Erica. You will see their love is everything, especially in Conclave. I don't understand how people can read this whole series, get to Conclave, and still hate Michael and Erica, when it's like, it doesn't make sense to me. Another thing, people hate on Erica, and for what? They say she's a pick-me, but she's not really it. She's literally she ends up becoming the best friend of all of the guys, and that's why people hate her, because they're like, oh, she wants to get with every guy. No, she loves Michael alone. That's it. The reason that people hate her is just because she's friends with everyone, and she's literally a queen, and you will discover that throughout the series. So I love Erica. Damon, as I mentioned, people hate him, and people will deliberately like skip his book to not read about him, but please don't do that. I'm telling you, like, if you read the series, start with Corrupt, obviously, because that's how you need to do it, but don't hate him, just dislike him. Do, you know, it's fine to dislike him, but once you get to his book, it's like, you should understand why he is the way he is. It doesn't excuse it, but you should know everything he's gone through. And then my last one, Alex. People hate her because of Nightfall, and I'm not gonna stand here and say what she did was correct. What she did wasn't correct at all, but she defended Will. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not trying to spoil it here, but she defended Will, who at the time is her best friend. Okay? And a lot of people on TikTok will be coming at me telling me like, it was none of her business, it doesn't matter if they're best friends. And I sit here thinking like, so you're telling me if your best friend is in an argument with someone and they're getting bashed, literally like so much hate is going towards them, you wouldn't stand and say something? You wouldn't do something about it? I'm not saying it was right what she did, but it is her business, because at the end of the day, Will was her best friend. It doesn't make it right, but at the end of the day, me defending Alex at the end of the day comes down to every single character in this book did something messed up at one point. They all did shitty decisions. They all made bad choices in here. They all did shitty stuff, and it's like, you can't really hate one a lot and not hate the rest. It doesn't make sense, so make it make sense. So that's all I'm gonna say about the series. It's a really good series. Like, you guys need to read this series because it's one of my favorites. I hope I explained it as good as I could without really spoiling it, but if you guys are down to talk, we can talk about it. I'm down to talk about it, but please don't comment hate. That's one of the things that I hate about specifically like TikTok. Like, I used to love it so much, but I hate how people are like, no, you're wrong, like, this couple is so bad, no, you're wrong, like, this character is the worst. Like, no one's wrong. It's your opinion, respect it. Don't try to change people's opinion, but like, also really look into it and understand that every single person in this series does something wrong at one point. So that's all I'm gonna say about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video overall. Remember to like this video, comment down below what you thought about this series. Which one is your favorite book? At the end of the day, it's just fiction. It's a really good series. If it wasn't for you, that's also fine. My biggest thing is just don't spread so much hate. Like, at the end of the day, people have different preferences. People love different people for different reasons. And yeah, thank you for everything, and until next time.